Hello, welcome to my newest instalment of my media blog. Today we're looking at Street, I call it. It's just a name due to the fact that the bit of footage in the actual clip is a street. I built this in After Effects. And what I'm going to do, which I haven't posted at the moment, but I'm sure when you're looking at it they'll be there, is a couple of stills of some of the textures I used in the actual footage. This is going to involve some brick walls, a road, sort of like a tarmac surface, and a brick, basically, to build up the pavement. And this is going to be a different brick to the wall that's used. Or is a different brick. Anyway, so what I did was I got a 3D sort of set, added in my camera so that I could view it from different angles. I basically placed in this texture, this brick wall, and I pushed it back about 100 paces so that it was behind point 0, 0, the origin on the screen. Pushed it back, so that's why it obviously looks further away than most of the other things in the shot that you can see. Now when I say the shot that you can see, I'm assuming that you've started playing the actual video. If you haven't, you're going to be missing out on a lot of the things I'm talking about. Anyway, so it starts, this is the tagline. In fact, tagline is more sort of the date, and the movie net title and the website, which all comes at the very end of the film trailer, which basically is, I'm aiming for the kind of trailer that does this. I'm hoping that my trailer is thrilling and gripping enough that you're watching the trailer and you think, oh my god, what is this film? What's this trailer? What's this for? I really want to see this. So you keep paying attention, and eventually it gives it to you. It tells you what it is, it tells you when it's coming out, and it tells you how you can find out more. The website, the date, the title. So, I mean, that's what the theme a lot of trailers tend to go for. And it's the kind of trailer that I'd like to go for in this one. Whether it succeeds, we'll have to see. So what I did was I moved that bit of that wall further back, and I then got a next texture, which was to be my road. I rotated it about the x-axis, and it then became the floor. This gave me the floor and the rear wall. Obviously, I'm now going to be seeing off the edge of my clip, where the right is, the wall that's parallel, perpendicular to the road, perpendicular to the brick wall, parallel to the side of the screen. So I rotated that particular wall. It's exactly the same as the rear, as 90 degrees to the y-axis. Pushed that to the right side of the screen. That gave me my floor, my rear wall, and my right wall. It now looks like we're looking in a corner, probably a street, but I thought that if I gave it a pavement, it's going to look a lot better. It's going to give it more of a theme as a street, and it worked quite well. So what I did was I pretty much copied the road, moved it up a couple of points so that it was, raised above the road, and I moved it back away from the screen. And it didn't matter about scaling it down too much, due to the fact that you don't see behind that brick wall that's in the rear of the screen, the rear of the shot. You don't see behind it, therefore it doesn't have to be too tidy, but in fact it is quite tidy and it works extremely well. I then got my second type of brick texture, and that is parallel to the rear wall. It was moved back to the center of the road, so this is kind of assuming that you're not standing at the other side of the street, but sort of maybe halfway in the middle of the street. So the pavement was moved back, and this then built my street. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to give it a sort of effect of maybe a helicopter flying above, shining down a light on this text that's going to be there. So I did that and introduced a new light. I got a white light, angled the cone so that it didn't, light up the entire of the screen, which would kind of ruin the effect. And I also introduced a red light and a blue light. Now, these two lights start at the left of the screen, off screen, and end up at the right side of the screen, off the screen. So they move across the screen while rotating around the y-axis, and this gives the effect that you can see, if you watch the footage, of a police siren or a police car going past. And so the white light moves across the screen as it. Unfortunately, this footage is missing any volume, which is the case for most of my other footage at the moment. I'm hoping to get that sorted at the moment. Anyway, so you first see G-Day. So you think, that's what the film must be called. You then see the date, and you think, it's coming soon. When is it coming soon? 13/12/11. That's quite a clever date. They've done well with that. Obviously, I aimed the date to be the 13th of the 12th, 2011. December. Which is actually quite not my birthday, but, oh well. So, the last thing I introduced, this is actually introduced. I was going to post this video a couple of days ago, and I realised that I'd forgotten something. I'd forgotten the website. I've got it in my poster, but I haven't got it in my trailer. So I introduced this trailer with the website, and I thought gday.com as my website. It works quite well. And the next thing I did was to introduce a shadow. I got my text to give a shadow, and the shadow then moves with the text, obviously, as the lights are aimed, moving around. As the lights move, they then move the shadow around with it. Occasionally you get a sort of a multiple shadow. You get the shadow caused by the white light, the red light, and the blue light. So sometimes it's just the white and the blue, or the white and the red. All the variations you can think of. So those shadows move with it, because the text was just one of the little settings just to cause it to set the shadow. All the other layers I actually had to set to accept the shadow so that they would receive the shadow. It would be cast onto those layers. The rear wall, the pavement, and the road. I've forgotten what it was called. Yeah. The next thing I did was I decided my text was boring. I'd actually just added in a default text, just for the sake of, I can see that it's working, and it stands out. So what I did was I changed the colour of the text to be kind of like my gorilla, sort of a brown and black. I know my gorilla in my trailer is black, but stereotypical is brown and black. I gave it the black stroke and the brown inner. And one of the other effects I found was it turns the layer, in this case the text, into lots of little squares, and then it rotates the squares per your choosing. So I'd made my text, the squares rotate as the light comes in, so it sort of cowers a little bit in the corner of the street as the light comes in, maybe as if it's sort of fearing the light. Obviously it's not going to be a kind of a werewolf vampire type thing because it's a gorilla, but it's just something you might want to maybe think into a little bit, let your imagination run wild. And the last thing I added in was this wiggle that you can see. That's quite a simple thing to do. It was literally clicking on the position, and via the text sort of input, the Visual Basic kind of text input, it was literally just typing in that you wanted the text to wiggle, and you just have to type in basically these little coordinates for how you want it to wiggle, basically how fast you want it to wiggle, how far you want it to wiggle in which direction, X, Y, and Z being the 3 coordinates, and it'll fit together quite well. I think that's going to be it for this bit of footage. I think my next one might be to do with a fist slamming into the ground, but we'll have to see. Thank you very much. See you next time.